Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's live. I'm Dr. Tammy, and tonight I am talking about all things hair. And it took me a few minutes. I've been working all day and working all sorts of programs and things. And at the last minute, I was like, if I get a shower, I have to wash my hair tonight. And so I know a lot of people can wash their hair every day, but I've never been one that can wash my hair every day. So usually it's like once a week. And sometimes that sounds a little weird for people, but it's very, very dry and I have to put so much oil on it. So I just straighten it like crazy. So luckily, I've always had a lot of hair. And so perimenopause and menopause are times when we lose hair, and it doesn't matter. It's all hormonal. Everybody loses some hair. And so if you have a lot to start with, that's a good thing. But if you don't, losing some hair can be a really big deal. So tonight we are going to talk about some of the hormonal changes that happen with hair. And I'm going to be here for an hour. So you guys can ask all your questions that you want. And I'm just going to kind of let you guys lead the conversations. But I do have a few things to share with you about hair so that you can start to understand what's going on, because so many times we're dismissed because hair just doesn't seem like a big deal, right, to doctors. They're like, oh, it's just your hair. But there's two things about that. It is not just your hair. To me, it's the canary in the coal mine that says if there's a problem with your hair, there's something systemically going on that's wrong. And just like the old timey, they put the canary in the coal mine, and if the canary would get sick or die, they knew that there was a problem. There was gases or something that was causing problems. So that is in itself just something that we have to think about. Oh, and yeah, if you guys like this content, if this is the first time you've seen me, no big deal. You can wait and see if you like me. But if you tap the little thing on the screen, it gives me hearts and likes. So if you want to heart and like me, I would really appreciate that, because it also sends the algorithm out and lets people know what we're talking about tonight in our hangout. And a lot of people do have hormone issues. I mostly talk about menopause and hormone changes, but hormone loss is so common. Almost 40% of women have significant hair loss after menopause or during perimenopause, and almost 100% will have significant hair loss, especially if they don't do anything about their hormones after the age of 65. So, and I witnessed this too. When my mom was in assisted living, her very last years, she was in her 80s, and she always had really super crazy thick hair like mine. And I just noticed it get thinner and thinner and thinner. And there's also something else we're going to talk about besides hormones, and that is nutritional deficiencies. And as we age, iron deficiency, all sorts of things happen. And I'm going to talk about the actual number one cause of hair loss. And so you might not have even ever heard of this before. So this is super interesting. So almost everyone has some degree of this. But when we're talking about hair loss, like I say, it's not just hair. So besides it being an indicator of a bigger health problem, or because you've had ovarian failure, I always say menopause is just a year without periods. That is not what we should be talking about. We're talking about ovarian failure, because after your ovaries literally dry up, when they're retired, then we have all these hormone changes. But the other thing is that, and this is not a vanity, your hair is very important, and it is what you present to the world. And so people can say you're vain, or people can say it's not important, or the outside isn't important, but it is. If you are in business and you go to work and you have a bunch of big bald spots, or you are losing, big chunks of hair, or you have to wear a hat because it's so bad. I mean, you're feeling secure in that. Your insecurities are going to go up when you have significant problems with your hair, because it is a part of your costume that you wear every single day. And I don't think you can say it's just hair, because you ask any woman or man how they feel about their hair, and they might say, oh yeah, it's just hair. But in their mind, they are not thinking This is just hair. This is significant. And, you know, a lot of guys with male pattern hair, pattern baldness, just kind of accept it. And especially if it's a genetic thing. So a genetic component of this is very big. But, you know, if they want to do something about it, or they want to get, you know, implants, or they want to do things to slow that hair loss down, or hormones, that's, you know, something that I think is very important as a choice. Women, I don't think we have that choice. There is no acceptable male pattern hair loss, but yet it's a thing with us. It is a hormone issue that happens with women, and it's not talked about. But when it happens, it is very significant. And I have patients that come in as new patients all the time, and they tell me they're just crippled by this. And luckily nowadays they have really nice hair pieces and wigs that you would never know, because wigs used to be, you know, super, you could tell they were fake. And nowadays they're really good. And nowadays we have hair extensions. And so, you know, we can get away with a lot more now. But I have a patient not too long ago. I mean, I could tell you so many stories, but I have a patient not too long ago, and she had a really nice hairpiece, and you really couldn't tell. But she took it off, and we're actually doing stem cells in our office for her, and we've had really good results with that. But she took that off, and literally it was just like little patches of hair, and that's all she had. So as we started exploring what was going on with her, number one, she was menopausal. So she had no estrogen, which feeds your hair follicles. And we immediately got her on some bioidentical hormones. Number two, what happens when you start to have hormone changes after or perimenopause or menopause is that your thyroid starts to go out of balance. And thyroid and estrogen compete for each other through the liver for their conversion. And when the thyroid goes, the hair can fall out too. So you can't miss a thyroid dysfunction. One of the things with thyroid is that oftentimes if you treat the female or ovarian hormone imbalance, the thyroid will get better. So you don't have to stick somebody on thyroid hormone for the rest of their life. Another component of that is that your immune system starts in your gut. And if you have an autoimmune thyroid type situation, you can heal that by healing the gut. So this isn't a leaky gut conversation tonight or a gut absorption issue, but I will say that we have to talk about the gut, because the gut is where your absorption happens for your nutrients, and you need nutrients for your hair. Yes, the hormones regulate the follicles and the growth of the follicles and the growth phases, but you have to have the nutrition. The other thing is that the nutrition has to get into the hair follicles. And so you have to have estrogen to feed the hair follicles, but you have to have the nutritional base. And so there's a few things. So the number one, the big ta-da here, reason for hair loss is something called ferritin hair loss. And if you're taking notes, you might want to get your pen out and write this down. Ferritin, ferritin. And so what the heck is ferritin? And if you go back and look at some of my other videos on TikTok or Facebook, I talk about this quite a bit, actually. So if you know me, you probably already know this. But ferritin is a protein that carries your iron into the cells. So iron is one of the biggest reasons, iron deficiency, that we lose hair. And so you can check an iron level, and your iron levels look okay. And you can do your homework and say, okay, this could be an iron thing. And you can go to your doctor and you can say, check my iron, and they can check your iron and tell you it's normal. Well, first of all, what is normal? Okay, so there's a range. So usually the range of iron is about 60 to 150. So your iron could be 61, and they're going to tell you that your iron is fine. And that's not entirely true, because your iron may actually be fine. I would rather have an iron level of 150, right? The top of the range,